Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chat Channel. My name is Tim Hayden, and I'll be your host. We have a super show for you today. Our guest is the beautiful and talented Sadie Nelson. Sadie is an actress and producer known for The Bay, Gabby's Dollhouse, Trolls The Beat Goes On, The Loud House, and more. She won the 2021 Tony Award for Best Play for The Inheritance. Sainty's done numerous on camera commercials, shows, and voiceovers. She's most noted for her most recent voiceover work series, Regular, on Gabby's Playhouse. Please welcome Sainty to the group. Hi, Sainty.
Hi, everyone. How are you, Tim?
Doing great. How are you?
So good. It is like we're in Texas right now, so I am freezing. It's wild.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the weather down there because
Holy cow. I know I'm representing my little New York sweater, but no, it's been freezing. It's wild. I giggle. Eric was so upset when he first met me because we were living in New York at the time and I had him come down to Texas for Christmas. He was like, I'm not going to get my white Christmas. And of course, it's like a full blizzard in Texas when he comes and sunny in New York. And I was like, baby, you got your white Christmas. Here you go.
followed him right on down there. Well, it's kind of unusual for y'all to get this cold, isn't it?
Very, very unusual, but it's nice. I feel like it's an actual holiday season. So usually I'd have something cute on, but I am like bundled up because voiceover studios, it's nice because it's soundproof, but you're also like in a freeze like ice box.
I can't imagine because it's so solid.
Yes, it really. I'm in a padded room.
Right. Wow. So, how did y'all have a good Christmas, by the way?
Yes, it was amazing. I feel like this year, and I wonder if a lot of people feel this way because of COVID. It's just the time is so valuable and special, and it's just not about like the gifts and the parties anymore, and it's just about being together. So I feel like since COVID, it just seems like our Christmas has been so calm and like actually about the season and about love and being with family and laughter and not getting dulled up and just like enjoying one another. So it's been such a blessing. I think probably a lot of people feel that way of just we didn't realize how much we all missed just being with each other until we all
Right.
didn't have it. And so I think that's the special part of getting to hug loved ones. And it was so beautiful. So I'm so grateful for it.
I am as well. We had a pretty good Christmas as well. So,
Good.
what was it like for you growing up in Texas?
Well, it's so interesting. My mom was a school teacher, and my dad has an insurance company, and they came out with this wild little blonde girl that had a really raspy voice. And I just immediately wanted to be in the theater, and I like immersed myself in the world of theater and loved musical theater. So I had two amazing parents that supported it. But it was nice because I didn't have like stage parents because they were both kind of into sports and their family loved sports. So I feel like I got to find it all myself and do the research myself, which I feel like is very rare as a kid. So I feel like I got to stay in it, which a lot of people get like burnt out by their parents. And I just had like the
Right.
most loving, supportive parents because they knew nothing about it. So anything they knew was about me telling them, like, I needed to go to this person, I need to take this class. So they just supported it fully. And I think that's what allowed me to, still be in this world, which is, I think, kind of rare as like a child actor, as some would say. So it's
Right.
very wonderful. And it's wild being back here because we're back in Texas currently. And I have my parents 2 blocks above me. I have one brother like 2 blocks to the right and the other brother 2 blocks to the left. So it's so nice because we have a place here as well in LA, an apartment in New York. But our daughter and our son just kind of have no consistency because of our careers. One of us is always gone. I'm always in LA, or Eric's always filming. So we kind of wanted a home base for them. And because of my siblings and we just got a new cousin, our little baby JR, and my other brother and sister-in-law have our little Janie girl who I'm in love with. So we have cousins over like every day and family here. So they get that consistency here in Texas that unfortunately our careers don't give them as much.
Right. Well, your son's not too much older than his new cousin, then, is he?
Oh my God. Well, little Janie girl and she's like the love of my life. I giggled that I literally had my brother and he had me as a girl. And she is like truly loved. They are actually 7 weeks apart. And so they
Oh,
both
wow.
just turned Mick is 14 months and Janie girl just turned a year. So they are like literally, I feel like they feel like they're raising my son. They're a package deal. They are like the
Right.
best together. And then we just got JR 2 weeks ago. So he hasn't met the littles yet, but he's gonna be a part of the big Reed circus that we all are.
Right. Twins from different parents.
No, it's literally, and it's so fun though. It's like they are the loves of our lives is all these kids. So that was our dream, is just to have cousins all together and family together all the time. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
I grew up a lot like that. My grandparents on one side of me, and aunts and cousins. I mean, within 2 blocks, all of us were within 2 blocks of each other in the country. So,
Yes, it's the best. There's nothing like it because it's just like they can't tell me anything, as I want them to be able to go to their aunts and uncles and their grandparents and be like, uh-oh, I messed up. If stuff that you can't quite tell your parents, I hope they can go to the cousins and the aunties and uncles for that.
well, see, they could be kind of, I guess, devious would be the word, like I was. I'd get up and eat breakfast at home, and then my grandparents lived literally across the driveway. So I'd just walk over there, and they'd ask me if I'd eaten breakfast. And I was like, no.
No,
And
mom
they'd
didn't.
feed me again.
No, that will be my McMahon. My 1-year-old is in the 99th percentile. He is the biggest effing thing. But all my family is good people. But Eric and I mean, I'm 5'2", and Eric's not a very big man. Big in the heart. But I giggle, we have this monster son. So I feel like he's going to be the one hopping to everybody's house, like eating away, eating all the groceries.
Well, I got 3 monster children.
Oh,
Me and my ex-wife are 5'8" and right around 5'8", and my daughter's 6 foot. Both my sons are over 6'1", so it's kind of like,
you are kidding. So no,
mm-mm.
we can have it. It really, I just read like an article that it says it like really doesn't matter the two parents' genetics when it comes to height. Like it really can just be anything down the line. So I'm praying if Mick is taller than like 5'9", I'm like, we crushed it. That'd be amazing.
It would, and I mean, look at his parents. He's going to be, I mean, gorgeous.
Oh, you're so he's gonna have a lot of personality. That's
I
for
mean,
sure. God love him.
y'all's daughter is gorgeous. See y'all on social media with her all the time.
My Molly Morgan, we call her the three-nager. She is a force to be reckoned with. I was like, that's what happens when a little girl is stuck with two parents at home quarantining during COVID. I was like, the vocabulary is out of control. And I was like, that is a little girl stuck with two actors. I was like, it is so funny, but she is, yes, they're the love of my life. I'm obsessed with
So,
that.
have you gotten to the talk of do as I say and not as I talk?
Yes, literally. Well, I say Molly Morgan, who's 3, her pickup line to friends is anywhere we go, she's like, my mom's pillow cat. And it's like her Gabby's Dollhouse pickup line. And she's saying like, okay, do you watch it? Because it's the #1 kids show. And I really forget because Molly Morgan doesn't watch as much of my shows because I think it kind of takes her out of it when she hears me, because I practice all my voices on my children. So I think though, I finally like figured out we were in this place called Seaside, and my mom and I are listening to or talk to this like big 5-year-old. And she literally says it like as a pickup line, like my mom's pillow cat. And I was like, and then the girl like freaked out. And I was like, oh my God, she is so smart. Like she knows what to use to get the attention of the big kids.
She's already dropping names.
She is dropping names. She's not allowed. I have a funny, I'm like going to take over this interview for you. I'm so sorry.
No, please do.
This is my favorite story though. I don't know what Eric and I were thinking, but we had, spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched 1883, tune out for a second. Eric, and he passes away in the show. And so we have episode 5 up and the kids are in the room. And I'm like, I don't know what we were thinking, but she was only 2, like just turned 2. So I didn't really think like she would be, well, Isabel May and Eric are kissing. And Isabel's like one of my favorite people on this entire earth. And Molly Morgan looks up and she goes, look, Mama's kissing Dada on TV. And I was like, yes, that is Mom kissing Dada on TV. And then when Eric gets shot, she literally looks up and she goes, "Oh, Dada's making a mess." And I was like, "Yes, Dada's making a mess." And we told Taylor Sheridan, we were like, "I don't know what we were thinking." But she at least didn't understand it. She just thought mommy was kissing daddy and daddy was making a mess. And I was like, that will be the last time she's allowed to see it. Because I was like, I mean, I took it as such an honor that she thought I was Isabel. I was like, yes, that beautiful woman on the screen is your mother. Wink, wink.
Well, it's a good thing too. I mean,
I know.
I was gonna on your voiceover. I was gonna ask you if they recognized your voice on if she did on your on the shows.
Totally. On Gabby's Dollhouse for sure, because I think Pillowcat's the closest to my voice. On the other shows like Ridley and Barbie and oh god, Loud House, I don't think she's kind of put two and two together. She's a little young for Loud House. Ridley, I play like a eagle from Brooklyn, so I don't think she like has connected it at all. But Pillowcat like that's her true go-to of coming up. But I have another pilot that I'm not allowed to announce yet, but for Nickelodeon that we're hoping gets picked up, and I think she'll love that. So the older she's getting, I think she's figuring out more. But she's my I wish I could say there's so many things I have to be so secretive about, but I'm playing up and coming a very iconic voice on Spidey and Friends on Disney. And I told them, I was like, the reason I got the role was because of my daughter, because I would imitate this character to her, like as a joke. And then finally, when I got the audition, I was like, oh my goodness, like I know how to do this. So I was like, truly, a lot of my roles are because of my children and like what they find funny in different voices. And if it hits with them, I usually know it will hit with an audience because a lot of people don't know that in animation they have like a target audience and like a test audience to see if people like that voice. And you always know, like Nova Swift, when I did Trolls, she was originally just going to be like a 1 episode arc, and she stayed on for so long because the test audience loved her. So it's really cool to see like what kids click with.
So, what's it like to be a voice actor? I mean, I know you do more. We'll get to the other stuff later, but I mean, I love the concept, and I just don't know how it all works.
Totally. I like I said, did musical theater. And so I think that's the nice thing. I got the key training and keeping your voice healthy. And I would always say, like, I'm a professional screamer. Like, I can scream and my voice doesn't change at all. But I was doing a pilot called Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll on FX with Elizabeth Gillies and Dennis Leary. And Dennis is always big in the voiceover. And he looked at me and he was like, you sound like a rugrat. Like, you need to make money with your voice. Like, you have the weirdest, most interesting voice. And I kind of just dove in from there. And I always say to get into voiceover, it sounds, unfortunately, somebody has to like die out because voices really don't change. So until such a small community, like the best community in the world, because it's all these people that aren't known, for their faces. So it's all these actors that don't want the fame. It's like we're all these kind of hidden behind the scenes. Nancy Cartwright, who is one of my very favorite and idols, it's like she is most of the time is not recognized. And she's one of the biggest, I mean, she is the biggest female voiceover artist. And Tara Strong. And I was like, I just think that's so cool you get to live a normal life, but play all these iconic characters. So it's like you get the best of both worlds. It's like it's like you're these secret celebrities that no one really gets to know about, which is so fun. And that's kind of what I wanted to be. If Eric was going to be more on camera, I kind of wanted to be behind the scenes so it's not like both parents. But now I'm kind of diving in to on camera again. So I was like, God love our children, but at least now they have their Texas base that they don't have to be in LA with everybody.
Well, I mean, one thing about doing voiceovers though is you can't be typecast.
Totally.
I mean, for example, I don't know her name, but Bart Simpson, his voice is a female.
Yeah, Nancy Cartwright. I mean, it's wild.
You would never have known that until they published that. I didn't know it.
No, I giggled. I play Meemaw on Loud House, and a lot of the children on the show are adults and ages from 20 to 60. And I walked in and they all started dying laughing. They were like, how this, it was like one of my first voiceover jobs. And I think I was like 26. They were like, we love this little blonde 26-year-old is playing the grandmother on the show. I mean, it's just so cool. It's like you really don't know. And I've played the boy and Ridley Jones, as I say, I play like this eagle from Brooklyn. And I love this little blonde Southern girl is playing the Brooklyn. So it's so cool that it really kind of depends on what you can do with your voice, and that's how you get cast, which is awesome.
I was going to ask you, is it like acting? Do you have to audition, or do they just pick up people who they've heard?
A little of both. A lot of the time, how to get in it is auditioning. Of course, I still audition every day, but a lot of the time during COVID, because we all had to build our own studios, you really couldn't. They really kind of cast in house during COVID because they had to make sure all of our studios were equipped, that we knew how to handle all of like the Zooms and the different things. We all also like became engineers. So that
Right.
was a little different. It kind of stayed in-house during COVID, but now it's kind of back out now that we're all kind of recording either in-house or at a studio. So it's super cool to be able to like, I feel like I have the biggest respect in the world for engineers now after being my own engineer in COVID of just like all I have to do is the volume, but that is like too much for me.
Uh, Starting the show, yes, I have a whole new respect for people who do the behind stuff.
And the
There's so much
technology.
good.
Yes, it's
Yes.
like out of control how hard it all is. And I used to think I was so young and like new technology and not anymore. I was like, these kids have me beat.
Oh, wait till you're 50 and have to learn it.
I know, I can't even imagine. It is like crazy.
So I'm curious, how do you just play it off your kids to decide what voice to use for characters, or do you come up with the concept ahead of time and then try it out?
Kind of both. A lot of the time, if I'm reading, like they'll say fast talker. So with Ridley Jones, thinking all it said was fast talking eagle. And I was like, what is, I hate to stereotype, but it was like that Brooklyn fast talking. I was like, let's make her from Brooklyn. And I think that's what got me the role. And with Nova Swift, I was like, okay, Nova is like very eccentric name, and Swift, it reminded me of Taylor Swift. So I was like, let's have her be big and theatric and love to sing. So I sang my slate, which is you have to say I'm with SBB talent. So I'd be like Sainty Nelsen, SBB talent. And I sang it and did it like fully in character. And I think that kind of clutched it. So a lot of the time it's just reading a little of the script and imagining what I feel like the world of it is, because a lot of people don't know when we're recording an animation episode, we're not recording with anybody else. So we're just saying lines one by one. So I don't have somebody like helping me, like how they're reading their inflections. I just kind of have to guess. So you usually do 3 takes in a row. And you really have to imagine the world around you and what these characters would sound like and look like. So I think that's the really cool thing about it. It's like you really are a storyteller in your mind.
So when you're doing the voiceover, are you going along with the animation, or are you just doing the voice and they do the animation to your voice?
They do the animation to my voice,
Oh, wow.
which is
That would
super cool. And so that's why a lot of the time we'll record something, and except with the shows that have been on like Gabby's, that's a very quick turnaround. But with like the pilot I just did, it takes like a solid year to a year and a half to even present the pilot, because then they'll do the animation and imagine our characters. And it's wild how much work. We're just like the cherry on top of the cupcake. I mean, it's just so much work goes into animation and time and energy. And like with Gabby, we also have live action. So she's filming in Boston. So it's like you add that on top of our animation as well. So they're kind of putting,
oh,
animation and live action all into one show. But it's the creator of Blue's Clues, and Blue's Clues was kind of the same. So at least they had that, in their tool belt.
right. And by the way, what's it like to have a stuffed animal or an item created about your character, your
I
character.
wish you could see behind me, but I usually have Eric always, he kind of is like taking stake in my voiceover studio. So he's always moving like 1883 boxes. I mean, it looked a little different. He usually takes these down, but I have all my toys back there. And I was like, that I feel like is the coolest out of everything, because most of the time animation is just press for the toys, because that's where all the big money making is the toys. So it's so cool. I was walking in Target with Molly, Morgan, and Mick, and there's an entire aisle of Gabby's Dollhouse. And that is like the coolest, most humbling, amazing thing ever, is all these toys that I played with as kids is now being one, is just like, it's the coolest thing ever. It's I don't take it for granted at all. It's amazing.
And see, I always do tell ask Eric, do you have an Enos doll or do you have a
Yes,
Daniel doll?
exactly. No, sorry. I know, it was so cool. One of the first gifts we got together was somebody made Barbies of us, and I was like, "Eric, this might be your only toy you ever get, unless he gets in, like, the Marvel universe." I was like, "This
Right.
might be it for you." So it's so cool.
Well, I was gonna get a pillow cap to have here today, but they were sold out. So
No, it is so, I just, was listening to Jeff Lewis live, and he had to pay, like, I think, like, 3 times the price for Gabby's Dollhouse, actual dollhouse, because it's so great. I think the holidays, of course, um, all the everybody wanted a Gabby's Dollhouse and all the toys to go with it, so we're so grateful for it. I mean, it's amazing, and I'm so glad the show each season, that's what we were just recording, I was like, "It gets better and better," and I don't know how it's even possible, but each season, it's like they're getting more inventive and creative, and it is so cool what the show is morphing into each season.
and see, at my age, I don't have the opportunity to watch the animations because my kids are grown and have their own kids.
Yes. So, oh, yes, I am, like, in full force animation right now.
um, so let's talk about some of the characters you've starred as. Let's see, you brought up Becky from the TV series Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Yes.
That was quite a cute little character there.
She
With
was a who I giggle, if you know anything about Eric, his one of his ex-girlfriends is Elizabeth Gillies. They did 13 the musical together with Ariana Grande, and we laughed. I auditioned for the pilot, and Ross Meyerson, who was the casting, who I love dearly, he kind of hinted I got the role because unfortunately she's kind of little ditzy and blonde and kooky like me. And he was like, "Do you know who your best friend on the show is gonna be?" And I was like, "Who?" He was like, "Elizabeth Gillies." And I was like, "Oh my god, what are the odds of that?" But I giggle. Eric always would laugh. He'd walk in, and Liz and I would be on the couch together. I was like, he had such great taste in women. We loved each other so much. And, I just am not that type that, like, gets, I mean, they were like kids dating. So I laughed so hard. I was like, he loved both of us for a reason. So we got along so well and became best friends. And so it was so cool. That's when you know to like never make enemies in the business, because you truly never know who you're going to work with. And like Eric was on 1883 and he became friends with one of the cast members, and Jordan Ross. And Jordan Ross and I grew up together and he didn't even know.
What a
Yes,
small
it
world.
really is the smallest community. So, that too, yes, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll was epic. Like the coolest group of people. I'm so grateful. And they were all, I giggle. I was such a teeny tiny on that show because every cast member was like so tall and beautiful. And like John Corbett, Elaine Hendricks. I mean, they're all these like beautiful, beautiful humans. So I just feel like I got to really learn from the comedic best during that show.
I just rewatched that episode, one of those episodes today. And what was it like for you playing the typecast blonde of being a ditzy blonde?
Kooky, a little too easy, which is so
Oh
sad.
no,
No,
no.
so much of the time it's that was probably my easiest character I've ever played, which is very sad. But anything, Eric always laughs that when you meet me, a lot of people don't think it's like, if you don't grow up in the South, it's they don't think we're almost real. We're almost like caricatures. And then it's you really get to know us, you're like, "Oh my gosh, but my mom is like that." My whole family, it's like Texans or Southern people are just big personalities and kind, 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 kind. So I think playing those type of characters is not too far-fetched for me.
You just put something in my head. I need to have a family member of a celebrity on, because I'm curious to know, by knowing the person, how they see them on TV. I mean, just curious.
My brother is always made fun of Eric because they always giggled that he's TV sized. Because I have one brother who's 6'4" and the other one's almost 6 foot. And he was like, I didn't realize they make him this small. Like, and Eric's not even that small, but it seemed like these big Southern men. It's so weird, especially being in Texas with the evolution of 1883. That was wild because we could go anywhere, do anything, and then it's like the show came out, and it was like our lives changed overnight. And one of my sister-in-laws, she was, I don't know where they were, but my brother was having surgery, so she was taking care of him the whole time, and they kind of get out of quarantine. She was like, "Oh my gosh, like Eric, we can't like sit with Eric anymore. Like it's wild. Like it's getting stopped nonstop." I think for them that was the interesting thing, is like how much it can change overnight. And I feel like kind of everybody feels that way. And it's always hot and heavy at first, and people are so respectful, especially here. But it's really interesting to see how, you know, just after like one episode airing, how much your life can change overnight. So that
I don't know. I know it's very endearing having fans react that way, but were there times that it was just like, oh, this isn't the right time?
Eric and I are pretty good about, like, we love it, and most of the time people are very respectful, and especially if we have our kids, like, they'll wait till we're done having dinner or, um yeah, most of the time people are amazing. I could see if that, like, it could be a lot for some people, but I think with Eric, he's worked so hard for so long that he was just so grateful for all the people that love the show. So,
Right.
and I was pregnant during the entire filming and had a new baby. So for me, I was in hiding most of the time. So it didn't faze me at all. So I'm so grateful for it. Yeah, we've had a great experience so far. We had one person find our home address and send us a children's bed backboard. So that was interesting.
Wow.
That was, like, for them to put books behind them. So that was, like, the only time that I was like, that was a little interesting." It was a nice thought, but that was the only time where I was like, "I I don't quite know how we feel about that one."
Right. Right. For sure. I mean, I honestly, I don't know how I would react. I think because I've thought that before, seeing a celebrity, I think I'd be the one to miss out. I'd be the one. Nope. I don't want to interrupt. Don't want to
Oh, you can kinda always feel, especially, like, us living in LA, like, feel the vibe of people. Some people are just not, you know
approachable.
approachable, and some people are like, "Oh my goodness." When Eric first booked 1883, I got in the Facebook groups, and I would post videos to them from Eric, because I was like, "They are the reason you get those views." Like, because of them, I mean, obviously, Taylor creates the most unbelievable storytelling and shows, but because of the fans is how the shows keep lasting. And I think I just wanted to keep Eric giving gratitude back to, and I hate saying fans, Eric always taught me, it's just from the viewers that love the show. That's why he started the live streams during filming. I was like, "Eric, you need to let them get to know you guys." Because
Right.
at least for me, when I watch an interview or see other actors and they're, like, amazing, it makes me fall in love with them even more, and I wanna follow their careers because 'cause I'm in support of them now. Now they have a like, a friend in me.
Right.
I wanna support them do things, and I get to live with Eric every day, all day, and I just think he truly is one of the kindest people on this entire earth. So for me, I was like, "I want you to show the world who you are and that So that's why he kind of started the live streams and posting the videos, is so people to get to know him and his cast members behind the scenes. Because like Isabel May, she's such a kind, warm soul and a very quiet person and to herself, but she's so personable. And so for him to be able to show a little highlight of that person behind the scenes is so cool, because you see these actors and her play Elsa and this strong character. A lot of people don't know is like she is a bookworm and just very calm and quiet. So it's cool to see people behind the scenes as well.
Well, I mean, not to mention the cast, Eric included, was such an incredible cast, but the majority of them aren't really social media people. So
Totally.
it was so great for Eric to do that, to show that side of them that you other fans don't get to see.
Complete, like Tim McGraw is like Eric like calls him Papa Tim. He is one of the most special, amazing, kind, oh my God, life of the part. Like he is everything you ever, that's what I would say, imagined him to be, he is. And so I think showing people that too, because on the show he plays so intense and he is opposite in every form and like that in real life. He is like he has the three most amazing daughters and and Faith is they are just as madly in love in real life as they are as you see them in any videos. So I think that and LaMonica is like they're just all like that. They're the nicest people. So and they're not huge on social media besides, promoting an album, but to show them as people is so
Right.
cool, because that's what people really want to know. I mean, that's the first thing anyone ever asks me is like, if I'm working with somebody, what are they like in real life? And to be able to say how amazing they are and to show like a glimpse of them is so cool.
And it's funny though, if you think about it, that shows the generation gap. I'm kind of the older generation. I'm 50, but I'm with the older generation like them. People are like, you don't do nothing on social media. You don't post. I don't. I'm not.
Totally.
I'm boring. I'm a boring person. I don't do anything. I do this most of the time.
Well, no, I think too, a lot of the time it was such a separation of you see people on TV and that is who they are.
Right.
And that's what we imagine them to be. It's like, it's truly those characters. And now it's like you fall in love, like I said, with the person and you kind of just follow them throughout. And it gets messy, I feel like, for some people, because all of a sudden you're expected to show your personal life and expected to throw it all out there. So I think it's a nice dance of figuring out what all you can show. A lot of people like don't show
Mhm.
their children. But at least with Eric and I mean Molly Morgan and Mick are our entire worlds. That
Right.
they are our lives. So I it's crazy. I mean, we don't show every day to day, but the highlights, it's so fun to make people giggle and smile, to show them as much as we love them, just to give a little sprinkle of Molly Morgan and Mick throughout our lives.
Right. And I try to, when I'm doing questions and stuff for each episode, like with Eric, I didn't talk about the kids very much because I didn't want to make him uncomfortable or didn't know the situation,
Totally.
because I don't want to disrespect anybody. Like if someone's having marital problems or girlfriend, whatever it is, that's not my business. I'm one of those respectful fans. That's their y'all's private life,
Totally.
and I'm
Complete.
not going to bring up stuff like that. I'm not that shocker
Totally.
person. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
thankfully, the Nelson house is all good underneath
oh
the roof right now.
my God! If you're not following y'all guys aren't following the Nelsons on social media, you're missing out. They had some fantastic holiday
We have
photos and videos.
Oh my God, I giggle. I like went bonkers this Christmas season. I wanted to do everything holiday and everything fun and happy. And I think we did like an activity every night, like whether it be driving around in jammies, looking at Christmas lights, or making, oh God, what are those things? Not Nutty Buddies, but those. Chex Mix with the powdered sugar. And
Oh, yes.
yes, just tried to do everything holiday spirit, which I giggle so hard. My kids are too young to even remember it, but I'll remember it. So I think because we were in quarantine, literally with COVID for 2 years, then we were in quarantine for filming of 1883. It was like, I finally wanted to like break out of the box and do everything holiday and fun and happy.
Well, you're making memories.
Amen.
And you've got to start off young because you want your kids to grow up into that tradition. You know, what y'all do. You go out and look at Christmas lights and things like that.
Yeah, there's this thing called prairie lights, and you stay in your car. And my mom had COVID last year for Christmas, so she was in her own car by herself. But now it's become like such a tradition. Like we do it 4 times every year, is to go look at the Christmas lights in our own car, and it's amazing. So it is, love the holiday spirit. That's for
Well,
sure.
there were a lot of good things that did come out of the pandemic.
Totally.
For me, it was my family. When it started, we started doing Zoom every week, and we still do it now.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's amazing. It really is true. As my mom say, like the important stuff got highlighted and the non-important stuff kind of went to the waste side.
And it did.
Pandemic.
It did. Well, I'm going to bring up a movie that you and Eric both were in. I just watched recently. It's called The Last Whistle.
Yes. I think
And
still should be on Netflix, so everybody watch it. It's really good.
and you were also the executive producer of that.
Yes, sir. So it was amazing. Brad Leland, oh my gosh. Like if you don't know, he played Buddy Garrity in Friday Night Lights. Talk about another amazing human being and so fun. And I got to play his daughter, and we shot it in Fort Worth. So it was so cool just to be around like my hometown and film in my hometown. Rob Smack came to us from the beginning. He was like, would you guys like to be involved? And we were like, yes, sign us up. So we cast a lot of our friends from LA, and they all stayed at my mom's house because we were all living in LA full time. So it was so fun. It was like it was summer camp. It was like our best fan, Daniel Coven, and Fred and Ty. I mean, it was like truly all of our best friends under one roof filming it. So I think you see a lot of that in the show is translating, just being with all of our buddies. And it's such a great movie. And I giggle each time football season starts. It gets like highlighted on Netflix for like watching sports related movies.
Well, the movie it's about a football coach, but it's not just about football. And to me, there were several different lessons that you could take away from that movie. One of the big ones was the relationship between father and daughter.
Yes.
Because y'all were in the movie, y'all were estranged.
And just what's that matters is important. Like we've been saying, is family's important. And it really is such a beautiful film. And it's shockingly, I mean, when you make a low budget film, you just kind of really never know you'll never see it again. And it's just lasted so many years. It's so cool to see each year it just comes right back around. So it's a beautiful film to watch.
Well, I really like the reaction when he calls you towards the end of the movie and he says, I'm sorry. And you said, what's wrong? What's wrong? Oh my God, I'm coming over right now. I'm on my way. Click.
Yep. It's literally my sister-in-law and I were laughing about that. It's like when you get the text from your parents and it just says, call me. And you're like, oh God, what I do? Even at the age I am now, it's like, if I get a call me text, it's like, oh God, what's going on? It's so true. It doesn't matter if you're mad at somebody, you get that text or that call, you're there.
Well, my dad, he is fixing to be 83, and he just the last couple of years got a smartphone. He was used to the flip phone. My stepmom was like, no, he can't text or anything. So generally I get, because he doesn't call people a lot, I get the butt dial from him.
Oh, of course.
And it's like, are you okay? Dad,
yes.
What's going on?
Oh, my dad is infamous for the butt dial. And my grandfather. I always get nervous because my grandparents will accidentally butt dial me and they'll leave like a 4-minute voicemail. And I never want to listen to it because I'm like, oh, I just hope they're not like talking about me or talking about. So I always just delete it immediately. I was like, that is probably like all the scoop is the voicemails.
Yeah, but you might hear something you don't want to hear.
I know that's I always delete.
Well, you're also in and produced some of the episodes in a little show called The Bay.
Yes. Oh my
I
god.
assume you're a fan of the show.
Yeah, that was actually, Eric was on All My Children and met Gregory Martin and Christos, the executive producers and creators of The Bay, at the Emmys, and they Gregory went up to Eric and was like, "I would love you guys to be involved, whether in it," and Eric and I were wanting to dive into producing and all of that. So we were like, "Yes, please sign us, but we'd like to be producers on the show as well." And that Eric and I actually are the youngest Emmy-winning producers, and we might be beat now in history. Eric's the youngest because I'm older than Eric, so I'm the youngest female. Um, but it was
Yes.
so cool to be a part of it. It's like it's such Gregory and Christos have created such a family, especially that soap universe. And The Bay is technically not a soap, but he's taken so many of these iconic actors that you would see on All My Children and Days of Our Lives and put them in this town and created this whole world for everybody. And I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. So he has created this amazing series.
Well, to me, it's not a daytime soap, and I hope I don't upset Gary by saying this. I think I said the same thing to Jackie Zeman. It's a nighttime soap. What I consider a nighttime soap, like Dynasty, Falcon Crest,
Oh,
Dallas. I mean, we always had to distinguish that as kids, because I grew up grandparents or grandmother and all them watching soaps, and then nighttime, it was nighttime soaps. So,
totally. Well, and now with streaming, it's like there's no such thing anymore. It's like everything is anytime TV. So that's really a great way to put it, is more of like a nighttime soap. And Gregory's writing just gets better and better each season. I mean, he's such an unbelievable. I mean, he's like the biggest hustler. He's unbelievable at what he does and gets it done. And like, he inspires me so much. He is such an incredible leader. And most of the time, you see all of his cast members around him in his day to day. And that's because of how much of an amazing man he is. And everyone wants to be around him. And he just like strives for greatness in his people. And they really are like the Bay family. I mean, everybody loves each other. And because of him, he's created this amazing, amazing Bay family.
well, I hope Gregory and Wendy's not watching. You rubbed a little salt to my wound. You're talking about the streaming, and yes, I started off watching season 7 last week, and come Thursday, some stuff happened, and I've missed Thursday and Friday. So I'm like, oh no, because you can't stream it right
I
now.
know it is so no, it is like you forget now, and now that shows started like breaking up like once a week again too. I'm like, I meant to binge it all day. Like it's so crazy now. We all got so used to like binging something in a full day. And most of the time I'll hire a babysitter and like go hide in my room to like watch a whole series. But when they
Right.
do it just once a week, you're like, no, what am I supposed to do now?
No.
It's like I took it for granted.
Well, 1883, 1923, Yellowstone, they're all that.
No, I'm actually being a bad fan right now, but I have not started 1923 yet because I want to like watch a few episodes in a row because I don't have a lot of time on my hands with the kids. So when I watch something, like I said, I watch like 3 episodes, or I watch I just like binged Emily in Paris because I'm like, okay, I have the whole day. I'm going to watch my show.
That's me
So,
out. Like last week when I was watching The Bay, it was like, it's 30 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta wait till tomorrow now. I can't jump on to the next.
oh, or even like with ads, like when Hulu has ads, you're like, what are these ads now? We don't need ads.
Well, I binged first 1 through 6 of The Bay, pretty much within a few weeks. And now, like I said, I'm watching it on Popstar and commercials.
You're like,
They had
no,
commercials, and yes, it's
I
like,
know.
really, what? Or a commercial will come on, and I'll get up to, I'll be like, all right, I've got 90 seconds at least. I'll get go do something. It's one of the 30-second commercials. I'm like, oh my god, it's back on already.
No, it is. I know that it drives me nuts. All of that because it's really we all got spoiled. But there was something special. I remember Thursday nights when I was in high school was Grey's Anatomy, and it's like we all would like get together to watch our. It's weird, like we don't do that anymore. It was just so like it was like you could only watch it, you know, Thursday nights, and we'd all have to start it at 8 o'clock, and we get there at 7:30, and the whole day would be around that. Like that's what my mom always said about all my children. She was like, I scheduled my college classes around all my children episodes so I could watch them every day. Like that's just so I think this younger generation doesn't realize like how cool that used to be.
Well, I think I've probably got one more over on you. I don't think you know what it's like to have 3 channels to watch and
Yeah,
antennas. You got to adjust to get them.
that's amazing. I know we just got offered, we were doing like one of those interactive Christmas things, and they offered a DVD. And you're like, we don't need a DVD. Who has a DVD anymore? It's like that's so weird even thinking about that. That like it was like DVD, Blu-ray, and then whoop, those don't exist.
Well,
That's
I've got a collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, but therefore I live in Kentucky, so Tornado Alley, storms that knock out our
so
powers to our the internet, so I have something to still watch. That's
where
my
in
main
Kentucky
reason.
are you?
Owensboro. I'm about
Okay,
an hour and a half east of Louisville
my
or west of
sister-in-law
Louisville.
is in Louisville, and they're there right now, and they said it's pouring snow. At least in
Oh, I
Louisville.
don't. It probably is because we got snow yesterday and Louisville didn't.
Okay, so they just sent me pictures in our family text that they're right now, and I was like, so pretty. I was like, I like when it's cold when there's snow on the ground, but when it's just freezing and there's no snow on the ground, it doesn't seem worth it.
My hot water just thawed out yesterday. Thursday we got hit with the part of the storm that we got hit with in Kentucky is it was negative 28,
Oh,
and
my Lanta.
for like 24 to 30 hours it was just miserable and snowed some, but
Yeah,
still it
just
was
like
just
freezing.
yes.
That
So
is
yes,
insane.
so I had to master, well, I already knew from a kid, but boiling water on a stove to take a bath.
Yeah, that's so I know we all have taken for granted all the good stuff we have now.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Well, you, Eric, like I said, do some producing. You won the 2021 Tony Award for Best Play for The Inheritance. And you are correct. You are the youngest too. But due to Eric being younger, he holds the
I
world's
know.
record as youngest producer.
Yeah, but I look younger, right? No, no,
Absolutely.
no, we
Come
giggle
on.
so hard. And then he actually won for best actor or best supporting actor. And so it's like he has won more than me. So now that they have the Emmys for children, like the voiceover Emmys too, I'm like, Eric, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming
Oh, for
to get
sure.
your claim, brother. But yes, that was a goal of ours because Eric and I both started in musical theater. Eric in 13, the musical on Broadway, that our heart and soul is with theater in New York. And so we've been working with multiple producers, kind of trying to figure out where we wanted, to dive our feet in for the first time. And we got the opportunity to be a part of The Inheritance and that story and that cast. And it was like there couldn't have been a more perfect time to do our first producing on Broadway. Um, and so we dove in, and I was so grateful. It was interesting. The night before I had had Mick went into labor is when we won the Tony Award. So it was
Oh,
so cool. It's like
no.
we won the Tony Award, and then the next day we had our McMahon.
Oh, okay. I thought it was backwards. I was going to say, oh, no, you weren't there.
No, we weren't there. Can you believe? I was like, so I had a scheduled C-section with Mick. So that night, I was just like, we were in our jammies and just both like nervously. It was kind of nice because we weren't nervous about the next day having our son. We were more nervous if we were going to win a Tony or not. So it
And
was
you,
like, and we did. I mean, it was so cool. So it was like within 12 hours, it was like we got Tony Awards, and then we got our McMahon. So it
And
was
you didn't name him Tony?
no, I know we really should have. He is a Tony too. He is, but it was so cool. That was like actually the wildest 24 hours of my
Oh,
life.
I can
And
imagine.
Eric was still shooting then too. So it was like it was crazy. That time was some crazy, crazy time. So and
Do
then
you
oh yes.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask you if you like to be behind the camera better.
A little of both. I love Eric and I are working on something we're producing and being in together. So I'm kind of a control freak, so that part I love is having a little bit of say. Um, because a lot of time on camera, people don't realize it's like you don't have a say. You're just doing it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if people don't like it, a
Yes.
lot of time it's not your fault either. So it's really cool to have a say in something and start it from the ground up. So Eric and I have loved to do a mix of that as creating things together, and really being working together and being creative together. So it's a little both, kind of depending what season of life I'm in. It was great when voiceover, I don't consider it even like behind the camera. That's just kind of its own little entity. But it's been amazing. Like especially being pregnant, it's being able to work the entire time is so cool. And to be a part of the creative process is amazing.
Right.
But we got to actually it just came out on streaming and to on demand is Broadway Rising, which is our documentary following the shutdown of Broadway and the reopening of Broadway, with Jesse Tyler Ferguson and his husband Justin asked us to be involved. And that's been amazing. So if you can watch Broadway Rising, it is a beautiful film. And it's a little like PTSD-ish watching it because you just forget about, oh my gosh, like getting those calls and Patient Zero of Broadway was on there. And it's like, I mean, you remember like you were just like tracking the tree of who you could have maybe gotten it from and who you were around. And you'd have to do the tracing and you get the calls saying that you were exposed. And oh my gosh, you almost like, at least for me, I blocked out that time so much. Um, that's wild rewatching it again. They did a beautiful job though of you're not just like, oh my, I don't a lot when you're watching shows and they bring up COVID and all of that, you're like, I lived it. I don't want to watch it. So, but this did such a great job of showing the beauty and the different, you know, how Broadway comes together. Broadway always comes back. And New York always comes back. So it's really cool. It shows like the love of the city and the love of Broadway and how amazing of a place it is. So I'd highly recommend watching Broadway Rising.
How did you do during the pandemic? How did you all do? I mean,
So I mean, holy, we quarantined with my family, which was really amazing. But our most of the time, thankfully, voiceover stayed intact. And with this, it was just like everybody was filming themselves and had a small camera crew and we're just in mass, everybody was masked up. So I think it's, oh gosh, I mean, like anybody else, it's like you're just, especially artists, it's like you're just craving to be creative. Um,
right.
and so anything to keep our creative juices going and really just living as I bet it's you as a parent living for our children and through their eyes and trying to make I tried to, of course, my daughter was like 5 months old when it began. So it was just I was in the zone of trying to just raise a human and just to make her life as interesting as possible with the entire world kind of shutting down and falling apart around you.
I was gonna say it really fell apart.
And so I think, yeah, it's wild. I still can't believe we all lived it, and that's the craziest part is and depending your age of where you were and it's different, but it reminded me of like 9/11. It's like everybody
Mhm.
remembers where they were and what age they were and where it was during 9/11. I think with the pandemic, it's like everybody remembers when it was just that 2-week moment. We all thought it would just be 2 weeks and it all disappear. Um, but I think you just realized how fragile life was, and um that yes, that how important it is to just savor each moment, and I think that's why Eric and I try to remain so positive, and because it could all end tomorrow, and we're just grateful for our health currently, and just to keep on trying to do good work and be with great people like you and just have fun.
Thanks.
Of course.
So, what do you like to do during your free time when you
Oh
have it?
my gosh. You know, it's really sad and it's so bad to watch TV and lay in bed because like I
Nothing
never
wrong
get
with that.
to see it like by myself. So if I have a moment to by myself, I get in my bed and watch shows. Like I am a I like my mom has giggled since I was a little girl. I would sit on this like little couch and watch shows for hours. I like love a lot of people love to get outside. I'm not one. I was like, I'm thankful for it because I'm like a vampire. I live in the land of darkness. I
Right.
love, which is great for me as an adult because I don't have sunspots or, but I love TV. I am like and a real housewife and reality show aholic. I love reality television. It is sick. I used to sneak upstairs and watch The Real World as a little girl. It's so bad, but I've always loved reality TV. So I am a Bravo and all that connoisseur.
Well, I know who to turn to as a co-star or co-host when I start getting them.
Oh,
Because
yeah. Oh,
I'm
Becky.
not a housewife person.
Oh, I got your back. I know them all. I giggle when we moved to LA. We could be sitting next to Leonardo DiCaprio and Eric would be like, hey, Leo's right there. And I was like, cool. Well, if you sit next to like Lisa Vanderpump or Vicky Gunvalson, like I break out in hives and start sweat. I was like, he laughed so hard at me. If I would see a reality star out in the wild, it's like my heart would start like pounding. That is my love language is reality stars.
I think my only main reality show is Big Brother. I've watched that ever since it's been on.
Yeah, one of
But
my friends, Meg Malley, was in it. We went to college together, and she did amazing. I think she lasted like close to the end. I love Big Brother though. It's a good one. That now talk about like reality, like real reality.
right. Well, yes and no. I did figure it out about I guess after season 8 or 9 that they were telling who was going home before they went home. Which,
I
when they do it because they
really
don't want to be shocked. They don't want to be like, how dare you,
totally.
not the producers, the members of the house.
So
They
see, that's
ask each
smart
other.
though.
They're like, if you're, I guess they ask them, if you're going to send me home, tell me ahead of time, please.
Yes,
Just
at least I know.
right.
No, I
And
like that. Be ahead of the curve.
right. I mean, because can you imagine some of the reactions you could get out of people,
Lord, no. Lord,
especially this season, because they sent people home that didn't even know they were going home.
really? Oh no, see that cracks me up. I can't even imagine. It would to be, I mean, to put yourself out there like they do is like unbelievable to me. I don't have like I'd be more like Chip and Joanna, like very structured, like HGTV, kind of very simple. Like these people that show a lot of their lives, I'm like, oh, I don't know how you do it. I'm too much of a like I've had to learn is I take things like so personal. So like I remember when people would write to us like you obviously everybody gets hateful things and you're just like, but you don't know me or you don't that's not true. Or so that took me a long time to like have to learn that part of it. So
Luckily, I have not. I don't want to be famous. That's not why I do this. And luckily, I don't have to worry about looking at social media.
totally and like seeing this stuff. Oh my god. It's
People are cruel. It can be
people are
cruel.
very cruel.
They can be
What's so sad is like a lot of the time it's like 1,000 people can write so many kind things and one person writes something negative and it's like you just zone in on that negative. So
right.
Eric's so good about it, but I've really had to learn throughout the years, especially when it comes to like people writing about Eric, because it's like I know him and it's it's unless you
That's a
know
spouse
him.
defense. That's
Yes,
a
it's
spouse defense.
totally. It's like I'm his biggest cheerleader. So for me, I'm always like I come in like Mama Bear.
Right.
You don't know my man.
That I think one of my last jobs I had, some girl started. She just started a few days. She said something like, "You don't even know who the heck I am," which I didn't use heck, but
No, it's
you don't know me.
you don't know me. Exactly. It is so true. So
It's
it
like,
is.
get to know me before you talk to me like that.
Thank you. That's always the best way to be. But people are quick to hide behind a computer screen.
Oh yes, and that's another generational thing. My generation, it was like, okay, where do you want to meet? We'll deal
Totally.
with
Put them
this.
up. Put them up.
And now it's like, oh well, you don't know who I am, and I've got my VPN hidden and all
Totally.
that.
It does. So yes, you have to be very careful with the internet, and especially if you're on shows. Like, thankfully, all my stuff most of the time is children's shows, so 3-year-olds aren't like dogging me quite yet,
Right.
which is nice.
Well, I mean, the thing I've learned from this show is I like we talked about earlier, you kind of think the person, the celebrity, as they are on TV.
Totally.
But then, me doing this, I'm thinking, these are nice people. Let's have on. Everybody I've had on has been so much more than I thought.
Oh,
I
that makes
mean,
me
so
so
much more.
happy.
Every one of you all. I mean, you are phenomenal people.
Oh, you're phenomenal. I think a lot of people read the energy of whoever they're with and take that on and able to open up and have fun because of how warm you are.
Well, that's what I say. I'm just a celeb, or I'm just a fan. Talk to celebrities who I love, who I like to follow, and trying to share it with other fans. I'm not doing it for any other reason than that.
Totally. Well, that is amazing. Well, I'm grateful to be on the show and to follow Eric, which is he's a tough act to follow.
Oh, I follow both you all. He's probably tired of me saying, "Where is Daniel? Where is Daniel?"
Yes.
But I know it came out Thursday when I didn't see it.
Yeah.
What happened to Daniel? Not didn't ruin anything for anybody. It didn't. I don't know if he lived or died, so I'm not ruining nothing for anybody.
So I'm so for like Gregory, so grateful. Um, he does such a great job of like when people get other jobs to be able to kind of like write, a character is on vacation or something during the day.
Right.
So he's so amazing. That rarely happens with creators are able to share. And he is the mindset is like the more exposure to his Bay family, the better because they all come back home again. So
Yes,
it's just
Gregory was on here 2 weeks ago. He was on the week before Eric. He phenomenal. Wendy, if you're watching, your turn's next. Waiting
I
for
know.
you.
I'm obsessed with Wendy. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
they're gonna come on together, but the schedule just didn't work out for Wendy. So
Oh, you're gonna be upset. Yes, she's the best. Well,
and all of the I want everybody from the Bay on. I mean, Jackie Zeman, I'm not gonna lie, she is the one that got me on this. Because before her interview, we had spoke a couple months before, and
Yeah.
she started talking about it, and my gosh, I'm a huge fan.
Oh,
Huge fan.
she's the kindest. I mean, really everybody in that cast is. And I think that's why everybody has done it for so long is because everybody really does love each other. And they always come back home no matter what. It's like
Yes.
somebody will go do other shows, but you always come back to the Bay. So it is, and that's because of Gregory, of the family that he's made.
Well, and like you said, I never really thought about it as a soap universe, kind of like the Marvel universe or but it is
Totally.
because it's got all your celebrities, your soap stars that you never thought you'd see together.
Totally. And
I
I think
mean,
there's something about, I mean, I was obviously with Eric during All My Children. Those actors, what they have to do and how many pages and how rigorous of schedules. I mean, it is unbelievable. So I think there's something about those actors working together that they just get it
mhm.
and they click together because they know you have to have a certain kind of work ethic to work on a soap. It's the craziest schedule. So I think when you put a lot of those soap actors together, it's like you all kind of share that same motivation and same work ethic. So I think Gregory has done that and it's worked out beautifully and just it's amazing that world.
and he's still adding to the cast. Every season, he's adding to the cast.
No, just when I think it's like there's nothing else to do, he creates another world. I mean, he's amazing. So it is. I'll always look at what he's doing because he's always on top of it. That's for sure.
I can't say who on air, but I will take credit that I helped connect you with one person I think might be coming up, not in like season 9, I hope.
Ooh, okay.
But and I can't get off here without saying Fiona Hutchinson needs to come on.
Yes.
She is my top
Did you tell Gregory?
Yes, and he told me to tell her that he said to be on there because I follow her on Instagram and we talk. She says she's going to do it. We just haven't been able to get a schedule thing going. But yes, she has one of the, and I'm sure if anybody follows the show, they're probably tired of me saying this, but she has the absolute best Instagram.
Oh, I love. Now I need to follow.
It's her chicken. She has a pet chicken. No. And I swear it's the smartest. I never thought a chicken could be smart like this. This chicken is smart.
Okay, I have to follow now. That was a good time.
Her name's Chicky Mama, and
Chicky Mama.
She comes into the house. She has tea with Fiona.
You are kidding.
No, bread in her tea. I mean, yes.
What a life.
And this chicken listens to her. She's like, well, come on, Chicky Mama, let's go to the porch. And she'll end up going, or let's go to the coop.
I need to learn some lessons from her and get my children to be like Chicky Mama and listen to me.
And my favorite part was when one of them, she caught an attitude with Fiona, and she's like, oh, you're going to be Chiquita Mama now.
Woo! No, that's how, well, my Miss Morgan, my Molly Morgan, she needs, we've gotten I think Chicky Mama and Molly Morgan have a few things in common.
Probably. Well, Sainty, thank you so much for being here. I've had so much fun.
I really appreciate this went by so fast, and I'm so appreciative.
I hope you'll come back. I skipped a bunch of questions because we've already been on for almost an hour and 10 minutes, and I don't want to take up all your time.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so thankful. And make sure do I need to click out of anything, or are you going to click?
No, I'll handle everything.
Okay.
And if you want to hang out backstage for just a minute, I'll be right back there.
Perfect. Bye, everybody. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye. I'd like to thank Sadie Nelson for being here today. I would like to thank the Necrotizing Fasciitis Foundation for sponsoring our show. If you want to learn more about necrotizing fasciitis, please visit www.necfash.org. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more upcoming episodes, and please remember to be kind to one another, and have a great day.